at scorecard in the 2 years of the second tenure of this administration, um, as we bring it, as we get close to 2023, the clouds are gathering, and it looks like it's going to be a heavy downpour. And how that may affect a country like Nigeria, your guess could just be as mine. But things are not just, going well with this country, and people have showed concern that things, something has to be done, and drastically too, to save the nation from the brink that she is in today. And so we talk about Nigeria, we talk about what is happening, we talk about which can be, put under the state of the nation. Worrisome as it is, for some of you who have watched what happened in the southeast of Nigeria, IPOB coming out to tell people not to come out, and to ask them to stay indoors. Now that again is worrisome in a nation with a government and another government in a government, and so people are worried. And then we talk about our security. That has been very disturbing. Kidnappings, banditry, all of it, on at the same time. And of course, the Northeast is still a very terrible war zone as it is in the state of the nation. And then back home here too, young men who have resorted to come out en masse to protest, hike in school fees, and a government that says it is for the people, and what it is doing, and all of that confirms what the state of the nation could just be today. And so we'll be looking at it, taking a peep at what needs to be done. But more than any other time, people are talking about Nigeria, coming on a table or sitting down and having a dialogue about how this nation must run. And so, there are, agitations from all over, and Nigeria has never had it like this. And it's not with this administration, a lot of people would say. It has come with successive administrations, and so the blame cannot be heaped on this administration. It has snowballed to where we are with it today. But we'll be talking about it because dialogue, could just be the answer, and finding solutions coming from the Speaker of the House of Representatives. He's found fault with the 1999 Constitution and has said that it is deficient. And so we must look at our Constitution. We must look at why we can be a people, and why our agitations must be taken into cognizance, and for the good of the land. My guest this morning is a professor of law. Is a public affairs analyst and a commentator on national and international matters. My guest is Professor Nkufa of the Ahmadu Bello University. That's a long distance call that I'm giving to him this morning, but he is my guest. Professor Nkufa, good morning. Yusuf Nkufa, good morning, and glad to have you on the show.
Good morning, Mr. Tony Alabi. Yeah. Glad to be back again.
Thank you.
On this program.
Yes, I just gave a background up there. So much, coming out of the state of the nation. But again, for Nigerians and, people that want this country to still ride on and to still move on, we're talking about, yes, it is good for us to stay as one nation. But again, the signals, and what is coming out may just not be in the right direction for us. But for you, you're concerned about the state of the nation, and of course, 2 years running in the second tenure of this administration.
I just read in one of the papers today a statement credited to the governor of Taraba State, Mr. Dairos Ishaku, who said that Nigeria has become a failed state. And I think I will align myself with that statement. From what is happening, indeed, Nigeria is fast becoming an ungovernable space. You just mentioned it. If IPOD can issue instructions and the people in that enclave, in that territory, will obey hook, line, and sinker under a legitimate and subsisting constitutionally entrenched government, then that goes to show that there's a big problem in the polity. I think there is a disconnect between the government and the governed. The government at all levels doesn't seem to appreciate the gravity of the problems. As it is now, it has failed primarily on its mandate of protecting the people and even taking care of their welfare. To start with, there must be protection before we talk about welfare. So this degree of insecurity in this country, where arson, violence is being unleashed, unabated. I mean, I heard the submission of INEC chairman to the president that about 42 of their offices nationwide has been vandalized, has been burnt, and you begin to wonder, where is the security architecture? Where, an important institution like INEC will continually have its offices and infrastructure together with computers and other hardware raised by hoodlums, and they will go scot-free. Nobody will be called for account. So you can see that the statement credited to Mr. Dairos is very correct, that this country has been overtaken by bandits. They have, taken this country into hostage. In fact, it has been divided into spectre, of violence, to the extent that government doesn't seem to even know how to go about it. The people are helpless. People are hopeless. You could see the video trending where parents of the abducted Greenfield universities, said that they have to pull out 180 million to go and secure the release of their children, and government didn't know what to do about it. And here is the National Assembly, the Senate, in all forms of hilarity, bringing out laws that says that anybody that pays ransom should be punished, criminalizing ransoms, where it has failed to take government to task on how to secure the people. So the entire government in this country is even a charade. Our leaders are indolent, they are lazy, they are unable to articulate effective agenda for development and protection of the people. And you can see that the country is drifting. You can see that so many parts of this country have become colonies for criminal elements. There are cases where in some areas people have to pay bandits for protection to move around or to be able to access their farmlands. People have to pay money for them to be allowed to access their farmland. I mean, even in the cities, in the urban centers that you think that there are measure of security presence, you see that people are being just, kidnapped, abducted, at random. So you can have a situation where the state of Hobbesian conditions has been unleashed, in this country, lawlessness. So I think the government need to really do something. It must seek for help. Even if it cannot seek for help amongst its people in Nigeria, then it should seek for international support, either at the regional or international level. Because if these problems continue to fester, if it continues to persist, we might not have a Nigeria within the next 2 years anymore. So I think it is incumbent for the Executive Council at the national and state level, to really come to terms that we have a very dire situation. The country is sliding backwards, and before you know it, it will become ungovernable. It will become another Rwanda. So what do we do? What do we do? The government should stop playing the ostrich. It has failed. Let it acknowledge that it has failed at all levels, and now try to, connect with all stakeholders. It is now incumbent on all of us Nigerians, because if we leave this government and refuse to assist her, then we are almost going to be in partition. So the progressive, all right-thinking Nigerians must think beyond 2023, because 2023 might not even be a reality. There might not even be a united Nigeria. So we must come together and support this government and salvage this country. It's not about political interest now. It's about our country. Because if this country fails, we have nowhere to go to. So essentially Nigerians from all walks of life, wherever they are, both at domestic level at home or in the diaspora at the regional level, we need to connect the government, especially with international agencies, multilateral agencies, and government abroad, so as to see that we nip this problem, in the bud right at this point in time. Because, unfortunately, this scenario is bad. It is incredibly bad unless and until government and the generality of right-thinking Nigerians come together and salvage this country beyond political aspirations and identities.
Well, I was reading through a submission by an NGO of the United States of America, and that used the word failed, that Nigeria could just be turning out to be a failed nation, and something needs to be done. And also in the report, the consequences of having Nigeria as a failed nation, what it will turn out to be on sub-Saharan Africa, and then Nigeria, in the eye of the international community, is turning out to be, some people say, a pariah nation where people are just not, ready to do business with Nigeria. Security issues, and of course the people who have turning out to be fraudsters, all over the world, gaining a bad reputation for ourselves. And so these are issues that seriously needs to be looked at. But coming from opposition, the PDP, it has said that we're tired of just words, talk. We're saying walk the talk, and action and a lot of action to be taken on the matter, to salvage Nigeria from where she may find herself today. But so when you look at opposition saying it's time for action, and tired of having from the presidency that something hard would be done, especially with the meeting of the INEC chairman with the president, where the president was assuring that it will be hard knuckles on anybody that wants to disorganize Nigeria. For you and the actions that have been taken, would you call them lukewarm actions, or would you say that we've just not understood the many issues of Nigeria that's coming out from the presidency?
Absolutely, it is a lukewarm action, because the first question is, where is the sanction regime of this administration? How many people have been punished for arson, for banditry, for violence? How many kidnappers have been arrested and punished? So when you have a system that does not even catch criminals, let alone punishes them, how does it send signal to prospective criminals that it is in charge? How would it be a form of deterrent, on those that have been apprehended or prospective criminals? So when you don't punish deviant behaviors, when you don't punish antisocial conducts, it emboldens the criminals to continue to subvert, the territorial integrity and security of the nation. So essentially, all these are just rhetorics, because there must be a pragmatic action, on ground to make sure that this country is secured. And beyond also the rhetorics of the opposition, they need to also bring about their own solution to advise government, because what is happening now should not be deemed to be political. It should be seen as, a salvaging mission. So the opposition too should put its act together. It must go beyond ordinary rhetorics of opposing government policies, come out with advice that will assist government. And also, the government needs to engage, extend its arms. It cannot do it alone to other groups, opposition groups. One of the reasons for the failure of the Buhari administration is because of its refusal, to carry everybody on board. It has created a division, a kind of wealth between other people. It has created a scenario of we and against. So when you have the government that have identified certain Nigerians as its opponents, as against her, then it will have problem in carrying people along. And the issue of intelligence sharing will be very difficult. And the issue of supporting government to succeed will be very difficult, because you have already, chassis some people. You already, told the world that these people are your enemies. So you have created imaginary enemy for yourself that does not augur well for, a concerted effort at national development. So the Buhari administration brought this onto itself. It created unnecessary enemies by alienating excluding so many people from participating in governance, not at the formal level, even at the informal level. And
Prof,
there are
again, Prof, going further, you talked about seeking help and from wherever, from within and outside Nigeria. But again, some analysts would say that in trying to seek help, would we not be exposing ourselves to countries that may not just be as friendly as they claim to be to us? I give you the Ugandan experience when Israeli citizens were put under lock. You remember Idi Amin's regime and Mossad, because it had worked on the airport in Uganda, had to come in and rescued almost all the citizens. Now again, is that not exposing Nigeria to even nations that we call friendly?
You see, Nigeria is seeking for international support, should go through multilateral organizations. We have, for example, regional institutions like African Union, you have the United Nations, in order to, be sure that you don't run into the hands of enemies, masquerading to you as friends. I agree. But you have the United Nations, you have the African Union, you have the ECOWAS, and there was a kind of cooperation within the ECOWAS sub-region on the issue of security. So I think, to take up the gauntlet, Nigeria must move fast and engage some of these agencies like the United Nations. And of course, there are traditional, countries that are very friendly to Nigeria. We could explore such countries. Some countries that have a long history of bilateral relationship with Nigeria. Countries like the United Kingdom. I don't think, because it will not be in the interest of countries like the United Kingdom for Nigeria to disintegrate, because half of Nigeria elites would become IDPs in that country. So there are countries that understand that it is not in their own interest to allow Nigeria to disintegrate. One, because of our population. Two, because of the potentials, of this dislocation of the entire African continent by migrants from Nigeria and also to Western countries. And we could see some of the elements when the Syrian migration crisis occurred, where most European countries had to, absorb Syrian migrants against their wish. So with our population of those 200 million, so it will not be the interest of the global community for Nigeria to disintegrate or to have this kind of problem. So we should seek the help of the United Kingdom through Commonwealth, as an intervention agency, through the United Nations, through all agencies that we feel can assist in, coming to solve this problem. Because as it is now, you cannot, be fearful of exposing your details, your security capacity, when indeed you are about disintegrating. Because the crisis that is happening in Nigeria has shown that, what is the secret about Nigerian crisis now? Most advanced countries have the technology to understand what is happening in this country, and even our secret. So we should go beyond this fear and try to, look critically into how first, to solve this problem, divest ourselves from this impending, collapse, and essentially get this country back on track again. So it is very critical that Nigeria, get across to these agencies, because it's clear that we are not getting it right.
Again, Prof, you talked about the National Assembly, and could we just, be looking at a National Assembly where some, public analysts have said that it is just a yes National Assembly, and it works with, it had promised, it had assured the executive that it would work with it. And so the representatives of the people, how much they have represented the people, and whether they are for the people. I recall again that in this hearing, public hearing on the Constitution and Nigeria, Governor of Ondo State, Akeredolu, had come out to say the Senate should be scrapped, and what we should have, even with the representatives of the people, should just be about a salary for them, and work at timetables that will be scheduled for them. That the National Assembly too here had failed the people. Now, when you look at it, and what more would you want to say about the representatives of the people at the National Assembly?
Yes, you see, these are part of the national questions that keep recurring, even at the level of, remodeling the Constitution. That, look, this our democracy is not too bogus for us, it's not too expensive for us, especially this, bicameral form of legislation. And there have been argument that, it is too bogus, and it's too expensive for Nigerians. And some have argued for a kind of unicameral, parliament. That look, let's do away with Senate. Let's have House of Representatives based on population of the people, so that they can indeed be representative of the people. So that one, the debate can be robust. Two, it will be real representative of the people, and three, there will be less strain on the finances of the people. But beyond those arguments, I think is the Nigerian factor. No matter how much you want to remodel some of these, policies or some of these institutions, we have to realize that unless and until we have a patriotic citizenry, Nigerians that want to live and serve for Nigeria, that is when we'll get it right. No matter, I keep arguing that all this constitutional review, put us on one thing. Yes, there are areas in which there is an urgent need to review, for example, fiscal federalism, devolution of powers, power of local government. But essentially, there is also a need to understand that, the Nigerian factor of always wanting to subvert the nation is something that we need to look into. How do we produce patriotic Nigerians? How do we produce nationalistic leaders that will not continue to promote the embers of ethno-religious demographies, leaders that will not continue to promote division? Because as it is now, you don't really have Nigerians. What you have is Hausa Nigeria, Igbo Nigeria, Tiv Nigeria, Idoma Nigeria. So our identities are really subjected to our own tribal and religious, background. So it is difficult unless there's a kind of, reorientation of the Nigerian masses, and also for the leadership class to abandon this is divide and rule with ethno-religious considerations. Therefore, the most important thing for us is how do we now promote a civic culture where Nigerians will believe in Nigeria, where there will be a kind of integration, harmonious understanding amongst all of us. Okay, yes, we are different because of certain conditions, that variables are understood, but we have a common ambition. The public good is common to us. If we have to pursue the public good, how do we in unison, come and articulate our own common good for the growth and development of our nation? So I think if that thing is embedded in Nigeria, any other system you bring will work in Nigeria. But if those things are not embedded in the psyche, in the culture of Nigeria, if Nigerians continue to promote anger and hatred amongst themselves, no matter the kind of tinkering you want to do with the constitution, it will not work, because by and large it is the people that drive these institutions, these philosophies. So what we are saying is that as it is now, there is no iota of nationalism in Nigeria. Nigerians have been so divided, have been so colonized, by their leaders, to the extent that they don't believe in any other tribe except their tribes. And the leaders too understood, this dichotomization, and they are taking advantage of it, exploiting it. And at the top level, they use it to divide the people. So you can see what is happening now in the southeast, in the southwest, in the north. Look at those who are speaking for the people in Nigeria. Look at in the southwest, people like Sunday Igbo who are speaking for the people, and they are dividing the people because they don't understand the nuances of development. They don't understand the need to promote, a united Nigeria based on our diversity. They don't even know that the diversity is an asset. Look at what Nnamdi Kanu is doing in the southwest. Okay, if you want to argue for self-determination, you can go and be sleeping abroad and asking people to be killed in Nigeria. So, and look at the attacks on ethno-religious identities in Nigeria. Look at the Benin attack on the House of Fulanis. Look at the Sasa attack on the House of Fulanis. Of course, it does happen in the North too, attack on non-Hausas. So you have a country that is totally confused, totally disorganized in terms of identities, a united identity. So we are too divided. Not that we cannot be harmoniously coupled together. Our leaders continue to use it as divide and rule tactics. So unless we have the emergence of a patriotic set of Nigerians who will continue to advocate for united, peaceful Nigeria, who will continue to promote what we call political evangelism, to reorient the people that look, the Hausa man, the present Hausa man, is not an enemy of the peasant Igbo man. The peasant Yoruba is not the enemy of the peasant chief man. They all share a common destiny of exploitation, subjugation from a rapacious, opportunistic, monopolistic, and also maximalist political class. Who does not understand that politics or democracy is about development, it's about welfare for people and security. They see politics as a thriving industry that will make them hold on to power, enjoy perks of power, exploit the people, warehouse their steal from the coffers of the nation, warehouse those money to advance economies for the betterment of themselves and their peoples alone. So the leadership class is so parochial. It does not see anything beyond its own class, its own community of people and friends. So they don't have this expansive view of taking care of society. So, unless and until, we solve some of these basic problems, then this constitutional reworking will be a farce.
Okay, Professor, the program is Perspectives, and it's coming to you on Invicta 98.9, and we're talking about Nigeria. The clouds are gathering, and the sky is pregnant with heavy downpour, and who it sweeps away and what it sweeps away could be just a concern here. And we're talking about the state of the nation. Things just are not going right, and people are concerned and worried that Nigeria at the brink now. It could go either way, and so we're talking about how to get it right and bring back the country where it should be. Professor Yusuf Dankufa, a professor of law, Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, sharing thoughts with me on the state of the nation. We'll be back after this commercial break. Welcome back. It's the program Perspectives this morning, and we're looking at the state of the nation. The clouds, the same, are gathering and very pregnant with a heavy downpour. And who it sweeps away and what it sweeps away is just the concern today on the state of the nation. And sharing thoughts with me on that, Professor Yusuf Dankufa, a professor of law, Ahmadu Bello University, as my guest this morning. Prof, another thing that's coming up, Nigerians, we heap the blame, and everybody wants the chairman of the local government, the state governor, and the president to be the one to push for Nigeria to be a stable nation, to be, a nation that's working. But we leave ourselves out, and I'm talking about citizens' responsibility here on matters of governance too. Looks like citizens have also been part of this, the charade that's going on now, and that's making Nigeria, to be a subject of concern, both at home and internationally too. Citizens' concern about matters of governance. Where have we failed as citizens too in pushing Nigeria forward?
Well, these questions can be answered within two backgrounds. One, the mandate of government. It is the mandate of government to develop a state. Constitutionally, what is the essence of governance? One, welfare and security. Where government perform this role in protecting the people, in securing them, in giving them education as welfare, in giving them health services, in training them, in giving them their dues, not excluding them from the political and economic processes or benefits of their country. So when government does that, correspondingly, the people will support government and society. Don't forget, under the social contract theory, people come together, form themselves into a union or a state, abdicate some of their rights, and surrender to government, so that government can now superintend over them. Now the question is, in Nigeria, has government performed that role very well? The answer is no. So where government refuses to educate the people, how do people have the presence of mind, the analytical power, to understand and even demand for certain measures? There, apart from social contract, there's what we call social compact, the role of the citizenry. But you see, if a government deliberately excludes citizens, alienate them, take the resources of the state for themselves alone, for the privileged political class alone, create a rental state where the leadership are predatory upon the resources of the state. So you have a predatory state where there is state capture by the leadership class. How do you expect the followership to support that system? They don't even know the system. They are in poverty because of the effect of bad governance, because of the fact that the economy has no outlay for development and growth due to the inability of government to kickstart industrialization. So government is unable to create wealth. There's no prosperity. There's no employment opportunities for people. There's no job creation. The economy is consumeristic. The economy is import dependent, which means we are making other people rich because we have to buy things from them. We are supporting the economy of other countries while our own continue to, deteriorate, go downwards the hill. So when you have a scenario like this, an economic condition, where people are disarticulated, where people have been pushed into hunger, look at the human development index of Nigeria, according to UNDP, the 2020. Out of 161 countries, Nigeria is 158. That gives you the summary of the poor human development index of Nigeria. So you have a country where people are largely poor. More than half are in extreme poverty. More than 70% are in poverty. There are more than 30 million young Nigerians roaming the street out of school. Public education has collapsed, where the children of the poor can go and get educated so that they can be part of the development process of their country. In some states, like in the state, school fees are being hiked, public school fees. So what is important to you? It is nothing but a disenfranchisement program where the masses will be disenfranchised, where there will be social, economic exclusion. So when you have a scenario like this, it's really that is in misery, that is in squalor, that is in a condition of apathy, that is hopeless, helpless, does not know the future. Where you have a country where the country is only working for a few opportunistic political privileged class, and it's not working for the majority. Even the insecurity we are talking about is the majority of the people that bear the brunt of the security. The privileged class are protected. How many Nigerian police personnel protects the privileged class in Nigeria? Close 30 or 40%. The police, with about 270,000 manpower, have close to 30% of its manpower protecting the maximalist, the leadership class. So when you have a scenario like this, where government is not for the people, but for a few cabals, few opportunistic cabals, so which citizenry are you talking about? Can there be a robust citizenry under this condition? A citizenry that has been emasculated, subdued, enslaved, pushed in a cocoon and locked up. They cannot think for themselves. Citizenry that their children are being used as political talks rather than being trained. Citizenship that the vast majority of people are so poor that what they do is to eke out a living. You don't have a robust citizenship.
Again, Prof, when we have a situation like this, and again, it's beginning to dawn on Nigerians too, from the different divides of Nigeria, that this arrangement called Nigeria may not just hold, because some people are saying back in those days when we had the parliamentary system of government, people were developing at their own time and space, and so it was a healthy rivalry that we had. But since military intervention, again, people again say that we're suffering from military intervention, and since military came on board, that it had not been the same. And so the powers that are today that we see could also be, part of the military intervention that we had, where the center is so very powerful, and the states, have to run to the center, for whatever they want. So at this point and this time, this arrangement, do you see it still holding, and for how long it can hold?
I agree that the present form of federalism that we have now is unitary in all its entirety. I agree. And it kind of emasculates the subnationalities that are under the Nigerian state. So I agree. And I also agree that there's a need, for a constitutional review to solve some of this fundamental problem that affects, or represent the national question. Fiscal federalism, which was part of the Republican Constitution of 1963, under regionalization. I agree. Fiscal federalism. Local government administration. Some level of devolution of powers to both state and local government. I agree. State courts. State should have its courts. I agree. State police. These are germane demands. We agree. The settler indigene conundrum are crisis points, We agree. But the problem is, even when you do these things, within the subnationalism, there are even problems. Even for those agitating for Biafra, people like Wiki are saying, no, we can't be under Biafra. So these are part of the problems that surface in Nigeria that could resurface at the subnationalism level, at the subnationality level. So, you see, if the people of Oyo State, for example, the Ife Motakeke, who have the same stock, will continue to disagree, the Anthony Okonis, so these are flashpoints within intra-subnationality groups that show you that even if you solve the national issues, it will still manifest at the subnational conditions. So, what is the way out? Yes, it is good. Let us restructure, because we need to have a balanced federalism, especially in a multi-ethnic and multi-religious entity called Nigeria. We need to have a sense of balance, a sense of equity. There has to be a kind of rotation so that one region will not load it over the other. I agree. But alongside those reviews and reforms in terms of structure is also the crisis of irresponsible leadership in Africa and Nigeria. So, which means reforming the structure of Nigeria means that we have to reform the political system too of Nigeria, because the recruitment system into public offices under this political arrangement will sabotage any review or reform. Because the recruitment system is nothing but a thriving industry for political jackass, rascals to hold on to power and continue to exploit the people. So, and the argument could be taken further that for the Niger Delta agitations, the argument has been, look, we cannot be the goose that lays the golden eggs, and we are not getting anything. Yes, I agree. But how have they been able to effectively interrogate their local leadership on the money they have been receiving since 1960 from the Federation account for the development of Niger Delta? Have they been able to question those amount of money, those inflows? The Niger Delta Development Commission, the money that has been given for development, that has been pilfered, have they been able to interrogate? The Igbo agitations, the money that have been coming to Southeast since 1999, let's even be conservative, since 1999, huge amount of money. 80% have gone into private pockets. 80% have been warehoused into foreign destinations to develop other nations. Have they critically, demand an explanation, public accountability? So at times, some of these problems are so complex that we will lose focus if we are not careful in terms of, evaluation and understanding. No matter how much you want to, restructure this country, essentially if you do not do something about the political system that allowed tracks, political machineries to ascend to power and destroy the state at all levels, deal with that capacity at all levels, at the parliamentary level, at the local government election level, where the governors will impose and implant their likeness, their surrogate as chairman of local government administrators, where people, the franchise of the people are sabotaged by the people. So unless and until votes count in this country, and people can call their leaders into account, demand for public accountability. Because where is the demand for public accountability in Nigeria? Whoever calls anybody to account in Nigeria, who calls any governor to account in Nigeria, they are Lord of the Manors. They operate as emperors. Who call any senator to account? Even the power of the call, has it ever been exercised? Do people have the capacity to even do that? Because when you look at the political system, do people really have the power? Does power really reside in the people? That sovereignty that is the people is not a fluke. The so-called sovereignty under democracy that lies with the people, is it not a fluke? Is it not a farce? Where some political people, actors will come, manipulate the system, impose themselves on people, and people become helpless. The courts are not there to support the people. So it's a very, complex, crisis that we have.
Okay.
Let's add on with you.
Yes, Prof. Just the time now to get the public to be part of this conversation, and so call us on numbers 081 40,000 989, 081 40,000 989, or 070 87 800 989, 070 87 800 989. Your calls now. Hello, good morning.
Hello?
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. I love you.
Good morning.
My name is Christopher from television.
Christopher.
I so much appreciate your guest, my Professor somebody. He speak well. Where the Nigeria is divided is since 2014. Where somebody will say that you will make the government of a good luck ungovernable. And they still say that
Christopher.
He said that if he didn't win the election, that he will very and he still say that the Muslims should vote for Muslims, Christians should vote for Muslims, Christians. That is where the country is divided. And from appointment one-sided, everything one-sided. That is where Nigeria is divided. Okay. I don't think there will be something like Nigeria after 2023 or before 2023. That's my take. Bye-bye.
Okay, well, we want one Nigeria. That's Christopher. Still with your calls. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Tony.
Good morning.
My name is Karl Marx. Good morning to the Prof.
All right, Karl Marx. Okay.
I really want to add to what the Prof said about public school because I am a beneficiary of the public school in Kaduna State. Since 1999, when democracy came back to Nigeria, up to 2015, scholarship in Kaduna State was a permanent phenomenon. Every governor make it a mandate, a duty to give scholarship across every higher institution in Nigeria. Anywhere a Kaduna State is, he was entitled to scholarship. But the present governor came on the mantra that every Dan Talaka has the right to go to school for free. Today, what we're saying is a contradiction. You are retrenching their terror without any form of entitlement, and then you are hiking the school fees of those Talakawas to go to school. Very exorbitant. They can't afford to go to school again. And I think the government needs to listen to the people. As a leader, you need to have two attributes, that of a fox and a lion. Sometimes he's softening the decision not because he wanted, but because everybody is saying, please, please, please. That's my thing. Thank you.
All right, Karl Marx. Okay, one more call, and then we'll come back to Professor Dankufa. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Tony Alabi.
Good morning.
I'm greeting also to the professor. Sir, I have only one simple question, sir. Why is that this government in power now is focusing more on how to construct roads or reviving most of this closed industry to provide jobs for Nigerians so that they can pull them out of the bush and give them jobs? I can give an example. Today, NNPC, they say they want to acquire share in Dangote. Why their own refinery is down? Why? Their job could actually really mean that supposed to provide, give us industrialization is down. And one thing I always say is it takes the industry, for example, The poorest industry in the north here, created by Tamot Bello Harana of Sokoto, is also completely down. 18 years now, nobody has been paid, even the workers. So why is that the government does not want to focus on how to create and revive all these industries so that job will be given to the Nigerians?
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
All right, we got you. Back to you, Professor Nkufa. You heard my callers there.
No, I didn't hear them.
Okay, I'll start with Christopher. Christopher said we got it wrong from 2014, especially when the APC government, or the APC then as a political party was saying that they will make this country ungovernable and that things would not work, and all attempts were to sabotage the President Goodluck Jonathan then, and it was this ticket of ethno-religious tickets were put on the front. So we got it wrong from there, and he talked about appointments too with this administration, that appointments had just been one-sided, and so these are areas of concern. For Karl Marx, was worried too about what is happening in Kaduna State, that here's a government that says the children of the poor must have right to education, and yet it is the same government that is hiking school fees and all of that. So he cannot understand, because he's a beneficiary of the public schools too, and scholarships too have not been spread round. Comrade Gabriel, coming from the rear, talked about why emphasis on road construction and human, and urban renewal, and while employment for citizens, are not, on the forefront. And so all of this, your take on that.
You see, at the time the Jonathan administration left, there was a general consensus that, it epitomizes, poor governance. And of course, there was that political frenzy that ushered in, the government of hope and change, this administration. So I don't think it was a bad political move. It was based on, expectations and confidence as at that time. But of course, this government has failed, no doubt. But I think the problem now is, how do we jointly salvage this country together? That is both government and the governed. I think that should be the focus, because it's our country. We don't have any country to go to. So I think beyond the unnecessary emphasis on negativism, we should look towards how to, remedy these problems, political problems in 2023, by voting in the right people at all levels, honestly. I think that should be our focus. As for the issue of school fees hike in Kaduna State, of course, it stands condemnable because it's anti-people. It's anti-people. And the government is not a profit-making, entity. The government is about, serving people. You can't just say you have to overtax the people, Of course, this country or the state, we've been told, is blessed with so many natural resources. So why can't those resources be exploited, for the purpose of benefit of the people? And the argument that government has no business in business is nothing but a crass capitalist ideology that continues to allow very few merchants to take over government and reap the benefits that's supposed to accrue to everybody alone. And when you're talking about government not, being in business, for heaven's sake, you're not talking about Canada. You're not talking about the United States that has a robust, functional, and productive economy. You're talking of Nigeria that has no economy. A monocultural economy is no economy. So if you say you want to high school fees, what is the source of income of the people? What wealth is being generated through productive activities? But if today there were to be productive activities, you have manufacturing plants, cottage industries, both formal and informal economy are thriving. Yes, you could look at the income of the people and make projections. But where the economy is not growing, and what you have is deindustrialization. Companies are folding up. They can't meet up. People are being thrown out of jobs. So I think government should now introspect and be critical. Try to become ingenious. Try to become transformational and tackle the poverty issue by igniting the economy. Then it is when you do that you can have the basis to say, okay, pay for these services. But it is now. Where is the purchasing power? Where? In an economy that is not productive, where people close down their factories because they can't get energy, they can't get raw materials. So it's a very poor, economic agenda for you to come to force this kind of agenda onto the hapless and impoverished parents.
Well, okay, Prof. We just said it about. You said it all, and that's just about all we can take on the program this morning. Professor Yusuf Dankwufa, I'd like to thank you for coming on the show with us this morning. And that would just be about the size of it on perspectives today. We're looking at the clouds that are gathering and pregnant with heavy downpour, and it sweeps away what it sweeps away are concerned today for the state of the nation. And we're saying that we can get it right if some things are put in place, and so we can again be saved from the brink that some people say, public analysts would say, Nigeria may have found herself. I was talking a while with Professor Yusuf Dankwufa, a professor of law at Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. I'd like to thank my colleague Job for connecting me with the people. Wisdom, thank you for putting us in the pictures. We'll come back with perspective tomorrow. Good morning.